R.I.P. Great Britain, you are too soft. You raised the cost of living so high that both parents are always at work. Rather than spending time with their children, you took God out of schools. Parents were told, no, you can't discipline your kids. Kids have rights, blah, blah, blah. Well, Great Britain, you shall reap what you sow, and we have lost a whole generation and turned them into rude, selfish, disrespectful shits who have no respect for people, property or authority. You deem people with terminal illnesses and some with only a few months to live fit for work. You allow our veterans of war to go homeless and hungry but give out millions to foreign aid. You stop people's entitlement to welfare benefits, this leaving them so desperate that they commit suicide. You put the retirement age up so people must work until they drop. Things need to change. Feel free to copy and paste if you agree. Okay, sign light skin tone.
What? This status has been getting passed around on social media now for a little while, and it's popped up time and time again on my Facebook, and I need to address this because this status has the power to piss me off. Let's go through it because there are some things that we need to tackle here. Are you ready? R.I.P. Great Britain. We're not really going anywhere, are we? So let's quit with the amateur dramatics because we're doing fine as a country. So that's a little bit on the unnecessary side. You are too soft. You have raised the cost of living so high that both parents are always at work rather than spending time with their children. Really? Because I still know of plenty of families where only one of them goes out to work, and although some parents do prefer if, say for example, the father is out at work full-time, the mother goes and works part-time. And yeah, there has been, over the past couple of years, a major increase in the cost of living. There is assistance out there, and it's not to say that both parents have to have a job, but to say that both parents are always out at work, there's never really been a time when both parents were at home to raise their kids, because someone's always had to go to work. You took God out of schools. Ha! This is the first line that pisses me off, right? And we need to look at this. So I've done a little bit of digging round, and we're going to go into this because so many people believe this, right? So have we taken God out of schools? Well, this status, from what I can gather, mainly seems to be getting shared around the United Kingdom. So let's look at the United Kingdom's statistics. If you look at state schools in the United Kingdom, there are 32 Christian. Church of England is 4,598 schools. Church of England Christian 1. Church of England Free Church 1. Methodist 33. Church of England Methodist or United Reformed Church or Baptist is 1. Church of England RC 10. Greek Orthodox 1. Hindu 1. Jewish 38. Methodist 26. Methodist Church of England 3, Muslim 11, Quaker 1, Roman Catholic 2010, RC Church of England is 10, Seventh Day Adventist 1, Sikh 4, United Reformed Church 1. Academies, because we now have academies that teach kids over here. So 25 are Christian, Church of England 19, Church of England Christian or 1, Roman Catholic 2, and those were published on the 20th of July 2010. Now fair enough, okay, we've had budget cuts, a few schools have shut down, so that number might be a little bit less, but by no means have we taken God of any form out of schools. That has simply not happened. That's not true. And even if this status is designed to be shared in America, well, America has over 7,000 universities or schools of religion. Over 7,000. So in this little status update that says we've taken God out of schools, no, we haven't. That's a completely unfounded claim. And to be fair, in the research for this video, it actually didn't take me that long to find all that information out. So that pissed me off. Parents were told, no, you can't discipline your kids. Kids have rights, blah, blah, blah. Kids do have rights, and kids have kind of always had rights. To say that parents were told, no, you can't discipline your children. No, they weren't. I mean, okay, yeah, guidelines were brought in the UK over the years to say that things like, harming a child is not okay. It's not acceptable for you to, cut your child or push them in front of a car. That's not acceptable parenting. But in terms of hitting your child as a way of teaching them, that's okay. I think the last thing that I read about it was anything that leaves a mark that lasts over 20 seconds or something like that, then that's classed as abuse. But at the same time, they're not saying to parents, you cannot punish your child. So that again is not true. That kids have rights. Well, kids do have rights. Kids should have rights. Because otherwise, where do you draw the line of that's abuse and that's not? Do you know what I mean? A child's right, I mean, it's now a human right that people should have internet access. That's a human right. So, what, are we just supposed to get rid of rights for children? Because that's not a good thing if we did. I love this bit. Well, Great Britain, you shall reap what you sow. And we have lost a whole generation and turned them into rude, selfish, disrespectful shits who have no mercy for people, property or authority. Bear with me on that. That shit's funny. Because we haven't. We haven't lost a generation. We haven't got more kids that are rude, selfish and disrespectful. We haven't got that. I mean, it might just be in my experience that I'm quite lucky to know parents that are raising their kids with good manners, good values, a good education in things that I never really had as a child. That sort of education. They're being taught things about sexuality and gender and everything like that. Again, things that I wasn't really taught about as a child. To say that this generation of children are rude, selfish and disrespectful, I find little to no evidence of that. When you compare to other generations, you find rude, selfish and disrespectful people in every single generation. This is not a new thing. This is not... It's not worse in this generation. It's simply not true. To say that they have no respect for people, property or authority, is vandalism a new thing? Because as far as I've been aware, vandalism has been around for quite some time. Being disrespectful to property. I mean, did we respect property in World War II? Did we respect property in World War I? Did we? Did we really do that? Because I don't think we did. So when was this generation that did have respect for authority and property and for people? When was this idealistic generation? When did that exist? Because after going through quite a bit of research, I can't find that generation. Maybe you can, hey? You deemed people with terminal illnesses and some with only a few months left to live fit for work. As a country, no, we didn't. We didn't do that. That's the government that did that. In the United Kingdom, we do have a massive problem at the minute over the welfare system, because there was over 10,000 deaths caused by this new fit for work examination thing that people had to go through. There are countless amounts of suicides, people who had their money stopped overnight and couldn't afford to feed themselves and they died. Very unfortunate cases. And yes, it is, and it still is, a genuine problem that we face. But to say that you deemed people with terminal illnesses, we didn't. You know, the reader of that status had nothing to do with that. So you can't blame the general people for this. If you want to raise an issue about that problem, you need to go and contact your MPs You need to write to Downing Street. You need to write to the royal family. You need to be active about that. But to blame normal people, no, normal people did not do that. You allow veterans, our veterans of war, to go homeless and hungry, but you give millions to foreign aid. Really? Oh dear God. Okay, the issue of homeless veterans has been one that's been hanging around for quite some time, and it's something I haven't really addressed on this channel because I've been watching the statistics of it. Now, when it comes into researching a topic like homeless veterans, it is difficult to find some proper statistics because you can only record the amount of homeless people by the amount of people who will turn up at homeless shelters or who get spotted by charities and that sort of thing. So it is difficult to actually gain a grasp of how many people nationwide are actually homeless. But in the United Kingdom alone, we do have a homeless problem, and it isn't being dealt with at the moment by the government, by the powers that be. So here's the really interesting thing about this. So we want to say about how how we allow our veterans of war to go homeless. There are charities out there, and there is help there. So I want to get a statement off this. Now, this statement comes from britishlegion.org.uk. And their statement says the proportion of veterans among London's single homeless population is estimated to have fallen from above 20% in the mid to late 1990s down to 6% in 2008. In terms of the number of veterans, this is a reduction from an estimated between 3,000 and 4,000 people down to approximately 1,110. This is attributed to a combination of reduced output from the armed forces, improved Ministry of Defence resettlement provision, and better intervention from ex-service charities. Now, I know why people bring up about the homeless veterans. It's because a number of years ago, when the topic was first brought up about how people from Syria are fleeing and we have refugees that need to be helped, and a lot of people in the United Kingdom said, no, we haven't got room for them. And what sort of the right-wing or even right-leaning media did was to say, we have homeless veterans, and because we have them, we can't take in refugees. Up until that point, people didn't really give a shit about homeless veterans. It wasn't a problem that people cared about. And you can tell that with the statistics there, between 3,000 and 4,000 people, and that's just in London, that are homeless veterans, and that's in the 1990s. Whereas these days, we're getting like just over 1,000. So the numbers are coming down, but people still used that as an excuse to say, we can't have any refugees in this country because they're all Muslim and they're going to blow you up. But oh no, if I say that, I'm going to get called this and that. So I'll just say homeless veterans, and I'll hide behind that excuse until something changes. But the truth is, yes, we have a homeless problem in the United Kingdom, and yes, some of the people that are caught up in that homeless problem are veterans, but the help is there. Do you know what I mean? It's like a normal person can go to whatever charity and whatever homeless shelter and that sort of thing, but for veterans, there is more help out there. So to use that as an excuse, it's not really good. And to say that we allow it, I don't think I'll find one person in this country of any faith, of any gender, whatever, who would say, yes, we should have homeless people when they've gone and served our country. I don't think you'll find that anywhere. No one is of that opinion. So to say you allow, again, me and other people reading this, we don't allow it. We don't want it. But then it goes on to the foreign aid budget, and it attacks about that. And you see, the foreign aid budget, it benefits the United Kingdom in several ways. It has done kind of since it first started, really. We have amazing trade deals. We have a lot of benefit to our country and a lot of political power in other countries because we have this foreign aid budget. Like, I remember one of them a couple of years ago. I don't know if it started back up again, but there was a LGBT problem in, was it Gambia, somewhere like that, and they were killing people. And what we did was we said, okay, we give some of our foreign aid budget to you, and unless you are going to stop denying people these basic human rights, we're not going to give you that money anymore. And that is a political power, you know? So we need the foreign aid budget. So to blame that alone on why we have homeless people, you can't put the two of them together. The reason that we have homeless people is because the cost of living went up too much for some people. That's why they ended up homeless. The welfare system made people homeless and that sort of thing. None of it to do with the foreign aid budget. And people seem to only think that the foreign aid budget is a select amount of money, and that's all the money that we've got. Meanwhile, they forget to mention the rest of the money that the government has. Like, okay, our services in the United Kingdom have been stripped right back. We've had libraries closed, we've had public swimming pools closed, we've had job centres closed, loads of services, even schools have closed because of some of these budget cuts. That's not going to be solved by stopping the foreign aid budget. That is solved by our government going, we will give money to this. Our government is the one who is stripping back the assets of the United Kingdom and of the National Health Service. That's not down to people who are homeless. That's not down to refugees. That's down to the government to sort that out. So again, instead of saying you, as in you the reader, and instead of blaming the foreign aid budget and where that gets sent to, start looking closer to home. Because it's genuinely down to the government to sort this country out. You stop people's entitlement to welfare benefits, this, I don't know why it says this, leaving them so desperate that they commit suicide. I did touch upon that before. Yeah, that is still a problem. You put retirement age up so that people must now work until they drop. Things need to change. The retirement age went up. I mean, the only thing I can presume from that statement is it refers to the 6-year gap. Oh God, how to explain this now? So everyone wanted equality, and the government said, okay, we will give you equality, and they skipped forward the retirement age for women and they brought it up in line with men, which is fine. No one has a problem with that. But there is a problem around that, in that obviously all these people who've paid into their pensions, all these women, they're going to miss out on that pension. You know, like thousands of pounds a year, they're going to miss out on that. They will never see that money. So they should be compensated a little bit, but I'm not going to go into that because that really is for a different video. Things need to change. We're at the end of the statement, and yes, I agree, things need to change. Things badly need to change. But who the fuck reading that is going to be the one to create that change? You're telling people in that they're raising little bastard children all over the place that have no morals and no standards. You're telling people that. And yet, when you approach the people who post this shit, when you approach them and you say, name the children, they can't do it. I had an auntie who posted it, and I said, well, are you referring to your niece? Are you referring to your granddaughter? You know, who are you targeting that at? When you say that we are taking religion out of schools, it's an unfounded claim that I've literally just proven to be fake. You know? You're complaining that kids have rights. You're saying that it's a homeless problem just for veterans, and the way that we should solve it is to stop having political power in other countries. That's not the way that we get shit solved. I'm really sorry, we are not in fucking the olden days where you have to moan to your neighbour about shit to get shit done. We have the power of the internet. The phone number for Downing Street, the top of our fucking country, the phone number for it is on the internet. The email address for Buckingham Palace is on the internet. You have the power already to create this change, and you don't use it. That's the sad reality of this. You don't use it. All of us are guilty of this. That we sit there, we complain, we share shitty ass statuses like this, but we don't do anything about it. You know, in the UK we have a National Health Service that it's on its knees, getting sold off every single day. That eventually that service is going to go private, and we won't be able to afford it. And we have the power to create that change. We can still go out and protest, but we don't. We don't do that. So, in future, if you're going to share a shitty status, research it first. Don't come at me or anyone else with false, fake news. Don't come at me with that. And don't just moan about shit. Have your complaint about something and take action, because that's what this needs. If we're going to get our country sorted, we need people to do it. It's not just going to happen. I feel so much better for getting that off my chest. Oh my god. I have no idea how long I've been brewing up over that status. Jesus Christ. It's just the way, it's fact. It's fact, and that is fiction. That is mostly fiction, and people think that shit's gonna get sorted. When you're giving me false information, how am I gonna sort that out? How am I as a reader gonna sort this crap out? I don't know. And if you're still watching, this is where I just mumble on for ages, and you can subscribe. I do make videos. They're usually entertaining. More for me in the making of them, but there we go. I give up at certain times. Really do.